What's the point of trying to fix the personality? This is from Simon. If the person is just an illusion. So what is the personality? So to me, that's a mixing up of levels. The personality is a response that's happening through the body-mind mechanism. So the personality is like attached to the body-mind. And it is an illusion because most people believe that personality is real and is you. But it's an appearance that responds from the body-mind, and it has particular ways of being. If you've been traumatized, you'll have trauma responses. If you've had bad upbringing, you'll have difficult behaviors maybe. There'll be all types of things. There might be social insecurity, and all of that is part of the body-mind mechanism. That is a response of the body. So Khaleesi, my dog, her body has certain responses to things. She's a rescue dog. So most rescue dogs have behavioral issues. A lot of them are aggressive with other dogs, and that's why they end up going into rescue homes, because they have aggression. And that is part genetic, and then it's the way in which they've been handled and the way in which they've been introduced to other dogs. And that is a bodily response, but it's not her. There is no part of Khaleesi that believes that is her. She hasn't got the ability to do that. Her brain doesn't separate off. But it's a response that happens through the body. So the reason that you try to fix the body-mind mechanism is because your body-mind mechanism is like a robot that's going to create your life in a way. So it's going to interact with things, and your life is going to reflect the way in which that body-mind mechanism feels. So if you've got a lot of difficult conditioning, you're going to have a difficult external life. So if you've got difficult upbringing, for example, abuse, trauma, neglect, then you're not going to have been taught a positive role model for relationships. So therefore, you're going to have continuously difficult relationships, or you're going to become, it'll be different, or you're going to become very cut off from the emotions. So you fix the personality because it will give you a bit better life. What people like to think is that you get enlightened and then the body-mind fixes itself automatically in enlightenment, which isn't true. It's that the character becomes a ghost. So when you're identified, it's like everything in the person is so serious and is exacerbated through seeking. And then when that seeking drops, then the personality structure is still going to carry on. You're still going to have your same responses to things, but it becomes like a ghost, so it's a lot less intense. So a lot of the time, actually, when you have big awakenings, you think that all your conditioning's gone. I know that I did at points. But it's not true. It's just very much in the background. And that is a tricky point, because sometimes you don't really feel it because it's so minute and you're so like overwhelmed bliss. Like often in awakening, there's a lot of bliss that arises, but you still will have your conditioning. And this is where I think that, a lot of non-duality teaching becomes very confusing, because when you're waking up, often you do have to work on the person, and often as a side effect, you do work on the person so it improves. But then the person gets into its mind, either I don't have to work on the person at all, or I have to work on the person in order to get enlightened. And both are ideas, and both are not true. So you work on the person because your life will be better. Waking up will help with the personal dynamics, but it won't fix it. If you've never been taught good relationships, waking up isn't going to suddenly teach you that. That's your dream. That's what you'd love. Because most people feel so shamed about their behaviors that they really repress it and they don't want to ever address it. So that's not true. I think that working on yourself is activism in a way. I think it's like a social revolution, working on yourself, because you're breaking the karma of your family. And I think it's only polite for society. And if we want a better society, then working on ourselves in the flow of life is really positive, and it's an endless endeavor. endless endeavor. You can always expand to something bigger. But from non-duality, from the absolute perspective, there is only this moment, and that is illusion. But we live in this apparent illusion. So there is still the playing of the game. But in waking up, there is a distancing from the character. You could call it distancing or really embracing, but the character becomes ghost-like in waking up because the seeking energy drops from it. And it's the seeking energy that really exacerbates the character. Yeah. But it is all illusion. But then the belly gets hungry and eating happens. The dog needs a walk and walking happens. Like magic, we live in an apparent cause and effect reality. But it is illusionary. But most people don't get what that means. Yeah, nice. Thanks, Simon, for the question. I enjoyed that.